Hello, residents. This is Commissioner Alana Sanders, but I'm coming before you as Professor Alana Sanders. So many of you have asked, why did I run for office? Okay, that is a good question. Some of you said you did not. You didn't know me. That's also a good thing. Because if you knew me, that means you would have not heard from me. You would have already made your assumptions of who I am. So who is Alana Sanders? Alana Sanders is a mother. She's a sister. She's the youngest of 4 children. She's originally from Louisiana. Born and raised to Shirley and Leon Sanders, Reverend Shirley and Leon Sanders, and First Lady Shirley Diaz Sanders. So I am a what they call a what? A PK. Y'all know what that is? That's a preacher's kid. So one thing I do is I live by the Spirit. I die by the Spirit. And everything I'm going to do is going to be right in God's eyes. But why did I run for office? Okay, so let's go back to the beginning. I moved to Newton County in 2007. Okay, moved here in 2007, bought my second home. First lived in McDonough, Georgia. Bought my second home in 2007, right? Lived in a subdivision called the Enclave. That's one of the big subdivisions that you hear me talk about that has how many units? 922 units. Okay, one way in, one way out. And so during that time, I was also teaching as well. And my daughter, when I moved here to Newton County, my daughter was 2. She was 2 years old. Okay, so as a mother who was also a single mother, during that time, I was working, taking care of my daughter. I also volunteered in the school system. And guess what? Before she became a student in Newton County school system, guess what I did? I homeschooled my daughter. I homeschooled her for about 6 or 7 years until she went into the Newton County school system. And guess what? She was considered gifted. She was in the gifted classes. She also skipped grades. So now she's in college, in her 3rd year in college, majoring in microbiology to become a doctor of immunology. Yeah, microbiology to become a doctor of immunology. So that's who Alana Sanders is. I ran for office because when I was in the school system volunteering, I volunteered my time. I used to teach fitness at the school system to give the PE teachers a break. So I taught various classes. I even taught them from Zumba. I did type of personal training classes. I brought the equipment in, as well as I taught the drum fitness classes so they could have a good time. This was at Clements Elementary School. So I went in every week to teach these classes for the students, right? So while I'm in the school system, I realized that there was no recreation for our kids. There was no what? Parks. No parks and recreation. At that time, I was like, wait, something is just not right. We have to make sure we have these things in place for our kids. We talk about crime, right? We talk about crime, but we have nothing for them to do. In order to have something for them to do, we have to have something in place for our youth. So I stood up and I said, hey, I'm going to run for office. But before I did that, I used to work on various campaigns with other elected officials as a social media. They call me a social media expert. So I wrote the first college textbook on social media marketing, as well as I was on TV a couple of times with some celebrities. Yeah, I did a little bit of that. On with some celebrities, as well as their business and marketing consultant. So it was really important for me to give back into my community. I was a part of organizations. I was also a spokesperson for the American Cancer Society for breast cancer awareness. That was one of my huge and major platforms. My parents, my mother, was a breast cancer survivor, as well as she also passed away with bone cancer. My father passed away with multiple myeloma. So I was big on cancer awareness. So I spoke for the American Cancer Society for so many years, as well as my platform in pageantry. And so I wanted to make sure people were aware, as well as I took care of myself as well. For those who haven't got your mammogram, make sure you go do that as well. Breast awareness is very important. So going back to social media marketing, as I did all of those things, social media marketing, I wrote college textbook. I was teaching some of my residents here in Newton County. I was their professor, as well as I was also something called a chair. Yes, I was. I was a chair of a college in the business department where I was over all of the professors, the doctors, the lawyers, as well as the students of that college, where they came to me as their chair to make sure everything was done. I wrote various curriculums. I wrote a social media curriculum for the school as well, and marketing. So I was one of the go-to people for marketing and social media. So going back to why did I run? Why did I run? Because I wanted to see a change. I wanted to see the parks and recreation. I wanted to see those various things in Newton County that were not here. I wanted to make sure that I stood up and not just talk about it, but I was going to be about it, because someone has to be the what? The change agent. So I became the change agent to make sure that I did something for our community, and that's how you got Commissioner Alana Sanders.